What's going on, everybody? Cleepus Tech here, coming back at you with another video. In this video, I'm going to be giving you some tips and tricks for the OnePlus Nord N300 5G that you might not know about. Now, as always, if you end up wanting to learn more about this phone, definitely check out the description, where I will be linking to several other videos about it, as well as some information about pricing, availability, and some of my favorite smartphone accessories. But with that being said, let's get into it. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how to customize the battery percentage on the status bar. Now right here, this is pretty much the default setting. As you can see, the battery percentage is right next to the icon, which is definitely not bad. I want to say the vast majority of phones have it pretty much exactly like this, but with OnePlus, we actually do have a few different options. So to get to these, what you're going to do is pull down the shade like this, go to your settings icon. Then from here, what you're going to want to do is go to notifications and status bar. From this menu, go to status bar. And from here, as you can see, the battery percentage by default is going to be on. If you just want to hide it, you can turn this off. And as you can see, of course, the battery percentage is no longer here. But if you pull down the shade like this, it is still going to be there no matter what. Now, another thing you can do is actually change the battery style. So if we go here, as you can see by default, it is going to be vertical, but you can also make it a loop. So it's going to look like this. Or you can hide it altogether. So now as you can see, we have the battery percentage, but no battery icon, and some people might prefer it like this. And then of course, if you really want to, you can hide both. Now I'm going to go over some screen recording settings. Now in case you don't know, to take a screen recording, all you have to do is pull down the shade like this. The screen recording icon is going to be right here. Tap on this. If it's your first time using it, this is going to show up. Just hit agree. It's going to go through a few different windows here. Then after all that, this is going to show up. To actually start the screen recording, hit record. As you can see, it is currently recording, so you can do whatever you want. You can also pause it. And then to stop, hit stop. And it's going to be saved right to your pictures. So in general, screen recordings are simple enough, but there are some settings we can customize. So to get to these, go to settings. From here, go to system settings. And from this menu, go to where it says screen recording. So here are the screen recording settings, and we got a few things here. First of all, by default, it is going to record system sound. So if you're watching a video, playing a game, something like that, it's going to record whatever audio is playing. You can also record microphone sound. So if you want to narrate something, under this, we got the resolution. So by default, it will be 720p. You can also change it to 1080p, which is kind of interesting because the display of this phone is actually only 720p, so I don't really know how that works. But if you really want to save space, you can also change it to 480p, or you can set a custom. Then we got the frame rate, pretty self-explanatory. By default, it will be dynamic, and this is basically because this phone actually has a 90Hz refresh rate, but in reality, the 90Hz really only works with a few things. So when dynamic is on, it's basically going to adjust the frame rate based on whatever the phone is doing. And of course, you can also set it to 30, 24, or 15. You also have the option to record yourself on the front camera, show screen touches, so basically by default there's going to be a little cursor wherever you touch. And then finally, video coding format. As you can see by default, it will be on best compatibility, and honestly for something like a screen recording I probably wouldn't mess with it, but as you can see, if you want, you always can. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to disable the OnePlus shelf. Now if you've been using this phone for a bit, you've probably noticed by now, when you swipe down from the top right corner, this is going to open. And honestly, while on one hand it kind of looks cool, in my opinion, this feature, while having good intentions at least, is honestly just more of a nuisance than anything. So if you ever do want to get rid of it, all you have to do is go to this settings icon right here, and keep in mind this is not the main settings. This is like this special settings menu just from the shelf. So in case you missed it, to get to the actual shelf, swipe down from the top right, so like this. Not like this, but like this. And there we go. From here, go to this settings icon right here. And as you can see, launch shelf from top right corner is going to be on by default. So all you have to do is turn it off. And now if we go back, swiping down is only going to pull down the main notification center and not the OnePlus shelf. Now I'm going to show you a feature called auto brightness. This feature is basically going to adjust the brightness of your display based on the environment. So if you're in a really bright area, it's going to brighten it to make it easier to see. But if you're in a dimmer area, it's going to do pretty much the opposite. So to get to this feature, go to settings. From here, go to display and brightness. And from here, as you can see, auto brightness is right here. Toggle it on. And as you can see, it adjusts right away. Now I'm going to show you a quick way to open the camera. Now opening the camera on the home screen is easy enough, but if you're doing something else on your phone, like maybe you're browsing the web for example, and you want to capture a picture quickly in the moment, no matter what you're doing on your phone, to open your camera, all you have to do is double press the power key like this, and it's going to open right up. So let's try that one more time, this time on an app. And there we go. And then one final time with the display locked. And there we go. So as you can see, definitely a quick and easy shortcut. So if you ever need to quickly access your camera, it is a good thing to know about. Now I'm going to show you how to use one-handed mode, which is basically a feature that makes it a bit easier to use the phone with one hand. So to get to this feature, as always, go to settings. From here, go to System Settings. So right here. Then from this menu, go to one-handed mode. As you can see by default, it is going to be off, so toggle it on. And now with the feature enabled, to activate it, swipe down like this. And as you can see, one-handed mode is now on, and it's going to be a bit easier to use the phone with one hand. Now the first time you ever use it, this can be a little tricky, so let me show you one more time. So basically like right above the navigation bar, so like right here. And there we go, so you can do whatever you want. As you can see, it's not really the greatest, it kind of cuts off the screen a lot, compared to something like Samsung's one-handed mode, where you basically have a mini version of the entire screen. So I'm not really the biggest fan, but if you really need to use something like this, I definitely can see where it could come in handy. Then to get out of it, tap anywhere outside, so like this. And we're right back to normal. Now I'm going to show you what's called screen off gestures. Now these are basically a bunch of different gestures you can do with the phone when your screen is off. And for most of them, you can actually completely customize them to whatever you want. So definitely real cool. To get to them, go to Settings. From here, go to System Settings. So right here. Then from here, go to Gestures and Motions. Then from here, go to Screen Off Gestures. So as you can see, there are a bunch of different shortcuts you can turn on. And keep in mind, with these ones, you can completely customize them. So for example, if you draw this pointy thing, by default, it's going to open the calculator. So if we turn this on, now if we lock the display, go like this. And it's going to open the calculator after I unlock it, of course. And there we go. So let's try another one. Draw a V to turn flashlight on or off. So I'm going to enable this, lock the display, and now go like that. As you can see, the flashlight is now on. And if I do it again, it's going to turn back off. So definitely a real cool set of features here. And again, you can completely customize this. So back to the pointy thing, you can change it. So again, by default, it is going to launch the calculator. But if we go here, you can also have it unlock, call, or open an app. Let's have it open Chrome. And now same thing, I'm going to turn it off. Go like this. And there we go. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to change your screen refresh rate. Now in case you don't know, with the OnePlus Nord N300 5G, we are actually getting a 90Hz display. And while it doesn't really work with everything, when you're actually using the phone, the movement on the screen is going to be a little bit faster and smoother. And it's definitely nice because it makes things feel a bit more premium. But that being said, of course, while it does have its benefits, having a higher refresh rate can drain the battery. So if you really do want to get the most out of your battery, you can switch it down to 60Hz. To do this, what you're going to do is go to Settings. From here, go to Display and Brightness. And then from here, more towards the bottom, you're going to see screen refresh rate, so go here. As you can see by default, again, it is going to be high, but if you want, you can also change it to standard. Now, in my experience, it really doesn't make that much of a difference, and I would personally just leave it at 90Hz. I mean, this phone has such a large battery and 33-watt fast charging in case you really need to charge it. So honestly, going back to 60Hz is really going to make minimal difference. But of course, if you really want to, this is how you do it. Now I'm going to show you how to access your NFC settings. Now luckily with this phone, you're probably not going to have to do this too often, but if you ever do, what you're going to do is go to Settings. From here, go to Connection and Sharing. From this menu, NFC is right here. And in case you ever want to turn NFC off, which I don't really know why you would, but if you ever do, here's where you can do it. And if you go to Tap and Pay, here you can also change your payment default. And finally, the last thing I'm going to show you is a quick way to lock your phone. With this feature on, you can lock your phone by double tapping on a blank spot on your home screen, so like this. But of course, we do have to enable it first. To do this, go to Settings. From here, go to Home Screen and Lock Screen. Then from here, where it says double tap to lock, enable it. And now if we go back, again on any blank spot, double tap like this, and it's going to lock. So honestly, not the most groundbreaking, useful feature ever, but it's definitely still a nice one to have. But this concludes my tips and tricks video for the OnePlus Nord N300 5G. Again, if you want to learn more about this phone, definitely check out the description, where we'll be linking to several other videos about it, as well as some information about pricing, availability, and some of my favorite smartphone accessories. But that's it for this video. If you found it useful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to follow Kalipis Tech on Twitter and Instagram. And as always, I will see you in the next video.